Greetings, Bianca. Here are some of my thoughts on your first two projects. We'll start with the second project, the shutter speed project. I actually like this photograph quite a bit. I think it's really kind of compelling how you got the painting with light to actually kind of follow along this. It appears to be a coastline. Maybe it's a river or something. I can't really tell because the foreground information is so dark, and I think that's probably a good thing, that ambiguity of that foreground. But I like how the interaction of the painting with light with the environment, and to me, I think that's what makes painting with light so interesting. This one is also, I think, a pretty interesting interaction, particularly just the nice exposure you're getting back here of the landscape and the water and reflection and the sky and all that stuff. And then this sort of thing piques some curiosity as to what's going on. Grayscale, less effective. I think the colors, and actually this composition, I think overall is less effective than the previous ones. Let's see, looking at panning can be a challenge, and you did a pretty good technical job here. This figure is fairly sharp. The background's blurry. I think this image would be kind of even better if we could get that background even more blurry, even slower shutter speed than following this figure. So it's okay. It doesn't pique my interest nearly as much as the previous painting with light images. I do like this photograph, however. I really like the color schemes of what's going on here. This purple, and then this red, and this nice vibrant blue, and then the doorway, and then the figure kind of blurry in here working, and the kitchen, and there's just a nice structure to the composition. There's a nice harmony with the colors, and it just, I think, works out very well. This one's very nicely done. The cat, looks like you flashed the cat and then she moved, and I like that you can see the sharpness here, and then this slightly less distinct image there. I'm not sure about the negative space here. It might be just fine as it is, or it might maybe use a little cropping. I'm not quite sure. But I think it was interesting going on here. I'm not sure if I'm engaged in it as art or just a cute kitty, but hey, I think it is well done. So that's good. All right, so let's move on to your other portfolio. Still finding my way through the new Flickr setup. Your self-portraits. This is actually a pretty nice self-portrait. I like the light, I like the sky, I like the composition, I like the figure here, I like the road over here. And there's really nice sunlight, hitting the figure there. That's good. Sky works. I actually think it's a very well structured self-portrait, which communicates a lot of ideas and information. I think this one is as well too. I think it maybe could, it might just be my screen, might be a little dark. Yeah, there, I turn that up. It looks good, and I like the contrast. I like this repetition of the doors, windows, the bricks, the sidewalk here, these horizontals, the bushes horizontals, the bricks leading to the figure here, and the horizontals. Very well constructed composition. Good job. This one I don't like as much, mostly because you're so blurry here. You're completely out of focus, and all the focus is back here, and sometimes that can work. I don't think it's really working here because you're so prominent and dominant in there in the middle of the composition, and there's not much negative space going on comparatively to positive space. Now it's positive space, it's out of focus, and it bothers me. So don't like that one as much. These are interesting too, studies of movement, and I like this. I just wish the little bit of clutter information back here, we could maybe just crop that off. Actually, just draw a line, cut it off there, and that would be better. Because what I really like is this hand that's fairly static, and that swirl around the hand, and that looks good. All right, I would say a good job with those, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else you come up with. And we'll move on and do another critique here. take a look at Beth's work. Alright, Beth, this is your critique for these projects. We'll start with project 2 with you as well. This image I think is really compelling as I see it. I really like how you've got this sort of, I mean, both this image and that image back there are fairly crisp and sharp, and I like that juxtaposition and going from that chair to the direct gaze at the camera, the confrontational nature of that. I think that is a really strong image, and I think it's going to be just as strong in black and white. Actually, the right-hand side is maybe distracting a little bit here, and you can crop it. Or what I think you actually need to do is get a little bit more contrast in the figure, but not over here. If you push the contrast here, that's just going to get blown out in white. So, but colors seem to work. It seemed a little more even. It's actually a little uneven in the grayscale composition. These are interesting as well. Good job with this. I like the hands, the multiple nature of it, the glass here, moving, the elongated horizontal format of it works pretty well. Nice. Grayscale here is as strong, if not maybe just a little bit stronger than the color one. Has a little bit more contrast, I think, than what the color one has, and therefore I think I like it just a little bit better, but both are good. This is interesting as well. I like the sort of the gaze and this sort of circular movement that you create in here, and you got, it's a little hypnotic, yet there's a sharpness to it, and sort of deadpan gaze you have. I think it makes this an interesting composition. I think it could actually use just a punch up on contrast, though. You're a little soft here, probably from all the motion stuff, and you can fix that a little bit in GIMP or Photoshop or something. The grayscale actually works a little bit better too. Got a little bit more contrast in this one. So interesting. This is actually a really nice composition too. My only criticism might be, oh, if we could just get him just a little bit sharper there, that would be better. But I like how the negative space here is swirling and swirling and swirling. So, and the grayscale works well for that one too. And here we're looking at the panning image. And it's okay. I wish the background was a little bit more blurry and washed out so we could focus on the bicyclist. It's alright. It's not one of the stronger images. The grayscale is probably a little bit better. The paint and the light, I think was my favorite from yours. I remember looking at them. And these are really interesting. The red and white, the bike, and the diagonal and all that stuff. Grayscale is not quite as interesting. Color is much stronger. Vitruvius Man, also I think fairly interesting. I don't know if this changed much in color there, but I do like that. I like the relationship light to the human form and all that. So good job. Good job with this.